This is Kitten again. This is part two of the previous cast. As I said, it only lets me load 15 minutes at a time. So I'll probably be breaking down a lot of these casts this way until I can figure out how to get more time when I load. Um, but as I was actually lo- messing with the audio and saving it to my phone, someone did ask me, was I a little bit upset about the tour dates? And I guess what gets me is that it's like nothing below Jersey, and it gets acknowledged with tour dates. And now I'm not saying specifically just for BTS, but a lot of K-pop groups, as far as I know. Now, don't quote me because I'm not a fan of a whole lot of K-pop groups. They don't really come down to the South as much, as far as I know. I don't know why that is. It may be just that they don't feel that the popularity is there or something like that. But also, I mean, so something that we do need to take into consideration is that these tour dates are happening in May. Um, and it's almost what? It's February 20, almost February 20th now. So we're heading towards the end of February. And a lot of these stadiums and domes and stuff are probably already booked for these time frames. So I don't think that we should be so upset, but I get it as someone who lives under the Mason-Dixon line, which is something I found out just recently myself, that they may not be able to come here. Um, and that may have everything to do with uh, the venues not being available during the time frames on which they will be here. So, I mean, it is what it is. Um, and so, unfortunately, I can't really be mad. I can be like frustrated, of course, but I'm not really mad. Um, and unfortunately for me, during the time frame where they would be the closest, which would be in Jersey, um, I will not be able to go to that concert because of that time frame. It's exam season for me, and for those of you who don't know and hasn't listened to a cast before this, I'm getting my master's in linguistics with a minors in Asian studies, meaning I'm getting my master's in linguistics, my bachelor's in Asian studies. This is something that I've been doing way before I met BTS. Obviously, because to get your master's is a 6-year program. Um, and I've been an Army for this is going to be my third year now. Asian studies also, that's something that I've been going on. This is before BTS, so it actually had nothing to do with them. My specialty is actually Japan and not Korea. So I don't want to be accused of being a K-boo or anything like that. Although I'd love to go there and experience the culture, I do enjoy culture very much. Um, it from all countries, not just Asian. Um, we won't even get into the Mediterranean and things like that. Greek culture, Roman culture for me. Um, and I think for me specifically, um, my mother was adopted as a child, and so it wasn't until I was in my mid 20s, so about 5 or 6 years ago, that we found out who who her actual blood family was. Um, and I missed a lot of that history, and I feel like America doesn't have it the same way. And what I mean is, America is still a relatively new country in relation to Rome, or excuse me, Italy, uh, but or Greece, uh, any Asian country. Um, it was, people were came here, so even though there were people still already here, a lot of that culture is lost. Uh, so when you talk about history and stuff like that, for me, world history, it has absolutely nothing to do with America until about 1492, because that's what I was taught in school. Um, and we won't get into that because that is a whole nother cast, and that's going to offend a lot of people. Um, but when you look at stuff like Roman history, Grecian history, and I keep saying Roman because back then it was Roma, uh, but and Egyptian history, Asian history, they go back BC. You can't do that here. Um, so to me, world history means the world. Um, and a lot of the culture that we have here now, we've brought with us and we've made our own. And I'm not mad at it or anything like that. It's just that you don't get the length back of history, and there is a helicopter in the background. Sounds interesting. I will also tell you that I do live about 2 miles away from the airport. Um, so flying helicopters and flying planes and such things like that is a normal for me. So I've actually become, uh, I guess you could say, desensitized to it, and I don't hear it anymore. But so, like I said, I'm not upset that they're not coming down here to the south. I mean, this is, like I said, they may not been able to get a venue, um, and I am want to also state that I'm being very, I can't think of the word, cautious. I think maybe is the word, uh, with my English today, because today is Korean language day for me. And what I've done, because I'm studying several languages at once, um, I devote one day every week to a different language. And some of my girls in my group chat can tell you that I often slip into whatever language I may be studying that day. And sometimes I do a language twice a week, because this week it's Korean twice. I did Korean day on Sunday and then today as well. So I'm my English is okay, uh, but I am not the best at English. I'm better at writing it because I can recognize the characters and just reading it off than I am of trying to think of it in my head, because I don't know about other native speakers of other languages, but for me, the way I think is actually in Spanish first. And so I have to translate it in my head, and like you don't hear the rustling of papers or anything because I have little sticky notes all over my wall, so that I can remember to touch on certain things, and they're not in English. Um, so, but like I said, I hope everyone for the tours at least can get tickets that can go, um, because last time we had a lot of issues with the sites going down or not working, and also scalpers were snatching those tickets up. So I hope that we can, uh, it won't happen so bad again. And I hope everyone that wants to go, and you should get a ticket. I feel like if you can afford it and you can go, you should be able to get a ticket. And so I feel like that is important. And also, everyone should see the boys live. I've not seen them live. Um, I'm hoping at some point maybe I can. Maybe when I go over to Asia, for I have a plan for after I graduate. But um, I eventually would like to get my doctorate in linguistics, but I also need to work. So, it's kind of I may have to pursue it later. Uh, and but I want to maybe try to go there and maybe see them there. It may be more simpler, or at least for me, because of the time frame uh, of timing. Is always off for me somehow. um, but I wish the best of luck to everyone. Um, And oh, someone just asked me a question. My favorite song off of Whole World. I don't have a favorite song. I love Piece of Peace, but I also love Hang Sang, and I also love Blue Side. And listen, the whole album itself is fire. So that so that's interesting. Um, But I think I touch a little bit more on that when I do specifically for mixtapes, which we'll explore together, and hopefully I can sub it properly. Um, I'm I'm learning Hangul, so I'm hoping with my own sub and interpretation, um, I want to put it up visually for you guys on the screen and talk about it as maybe the music plays in the background or something like that. So I'm working on how to get that to work properly. Uh, but I need to check with some of my friends who speak Korean to make sure that I'm subbing it properly, because for me the characters are a little bit harder. Uh, so but I am working on that, and hopefully I'll have that up for mixtape anniversary. And since I'm approaching about 11 minutes now, I'm gonna go ahead and probably end it here. But like I said, I did have a question and I asked it, and if you guys wouldn't mind answering it, and then maybe I can talk about it a little bit more in another cast or the next cast. And also, I will send a link, or if you guys have questions for me, please go ahead and comment underneath the post, and I will try to answer as many as I can. Um, so until the next time, this is Kitten, and I will talk to you later.